what is evidence? What is the new scholarship of improvement? The simplistic view is to consider objectivity as hard-headed and subjectivity as soft. It's to pit science against passion and belief against proof. That is not necessarily right. The opposite of science is not passion, it is ignorance. The opposite of passion is not science, it is torpor. When harm in the status quo is actively underway, when our relationship to what we study is deep and caring, when we can use all of our senses to acquire not just data, but wisdom, and not just about parts, but about the whole, then we can be passionate and scientific. Love and learning are not each other's natural enemies. Healthcare tactics today, for complex reasons, I think, are way over on the I-it side. Here are the hallmarks of that: pay for performance, jokes about herding cats. In God we trust, all others bring data. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. The pursuit of accountability. Each of these assumes, it creates, a dynamic between people as subjects and people as things. Themes in the world of I and now sound different. They sound like this. They're discussions of curiosity. There but for the grace of God go I. Storytelling. Continuous cycles of learning. I think Tom Nolan's recent big breakthrough, what he calls act for the individual, act with the individual, learn for the population. Or as a colleague from Wales, Paul Buss, reminded me earlier this year, quoting words from The Little Prince, "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." Subject-object relationships, linear evidence, are not bad. Linear evidence, hard, cold facts are necessary. We need them. Our patients need us to have them and to use them. I don't need to know who made my car or who is flying my plane or who designed the plane. That's a world of objects to me. It's all I, it. But when I am in pain or in fear or confused or at the end of my life, when I'm enmeshed in a complex work system that I'm trying to make better, when I suffer, the person helping me matters in an entirely different way. In large measure, in those contexts, relationship is the point. So medicine, healthcare improvement, these lie neither entirely in the world of I, it, or in the world of I, thou. We are creatures of both lands. Two British scientists, Ray Pawson and Nick Tilley, wrote a book called Realistic Evaluation, and this has helped me think a little bit of what I'm going to dare to call, with great apologies, I, thou science, subject-subject science, as opposed to subject-object science. That science that can still grow wisdom with discipline, with evidence, when systems are complex and when relationships matter. That's science that knows in some important way the heart can see what the eyes cannot. Pawson and Tilley call the classical evaluation design OXO. It's shorthand. Observe a system, O, perturb the system, X, and then observe it again, O. The pinnacle for OXO evaluation is, of course, the randomized clinical trial. But it turns out, when you try to use OXO studies to evaluate results in complex systems, to evaluate social changes, and believe me, rapid response teams are a social change. That's sort of my point. Pawson and Tilley find very serious limitations. In fact, they say OXO evaluations of social programs almost always come up dry. OXO studies of social complex processes conclude either, usually, nothing works, or more often, more research is needed. That's just about exactly where we come up in evaluations of quality improvement efforts in healthcare, whether it's studies of rapid response teams or chronic disease management or collaboratives or what have you. Time after time, OXO researchers don't find the proof they're looking for. There's two possible conclusions from that boringly recurrent finding. Either A, nothing really does work, usually, or B, we're asking the wrong way. Here's what Pawson and Tilley say. They say, for us, the experimental paradigm constitutes a heroic failure, promising so much and yet ending up in ironic anticlimax. The underlying logic seems meticulous, clear-headed, militarily precise, Yet findings seem to emerge in a typically non-cumulative, low-impact, prone to equivocation sort of way. The experimental paradigm constitutes a heroic failure. Whoa. Have they gone crazy? Are Pawson and Tilley losing their minds? Are they calling the whole evidence-based medicine program on the carpet? Was Sir Austin Bradford Hill a heroic failure? Of course not. Not at all. Not at all. In its place, classical evidence, classically collected, is the best insurance we could possibly have against repeating the radical mastectomy mistake. It's essential. Our patients need it. We need it. But that won't get us where we need to go, where we can go, if we want better health care as a system, altogether, trapped in complexity. My friends, the world that you are living in as you are trying to help healthcare get better is a world of true complexity, strong social influences, tight dependence on local contexts. It's a world far less of proof than of navigation, far less of final conclusions than of continual learning. It's a world not about certainty about the past. It's a world of uncertain predictions about the future, tentative plans. You are, to that extent, I-thou explorers in an I-it world. So you suggest rapid response teams, and someone shoots back, where's the evidence? You suggest moving toward a culture of patient safety, and they ask, what's the proof? You suggest changes. They affirm the status quo until an RCT appears. Primum non nocere, they say. First of all, do no harm. When we, thousands of us, seeking improvement, forge ahead with change anyway, the OXO evaluation world thinks we're anti-intellectual, that we don't value evidence. It's uncomfortable. If you're like me, it makes you doubt, not the skeptics, you doubt yourself. Wouldn't it be great if we could end that combat? We do need both. We need to value and develop ways of knowing, scholarship in both types of world. Scholarship in the world that looks at hard, cold facts about radical mastectomies. And scholarship in a world where our relationships, our contexts, our whole selves matter inescapably. If we don't heal that rift between classical academic evaluation and the joy and the energy and the wonder of improvement, then people get caught in the middle. Good people like you and that doctor waving his hand in the air, slowing you down when you wish with all your heart that you could speed up. We can find the common ground. To find the common ground, we actually have to agree on only one thing, and that is this, that how you learn about something depends on what you are learning about. It's that simple. The object of study and the best way to study it are related. To study a linear, mechanical, tightly coupled causal relationship most efficiently, an OXO study is just what the doctor ordered. That's how I think most drugs or devices or procedures should be evaluated. I'm an orthodox OXO scientist when the question is about methotrexate for leukemia or beta blockers for heart failure. But when it comes to social change, by which I mean changes, interventions, ideas that involve complex relationships, some of which are interpersonal, all of which are nonlinear, in social systems with important contextual influences, then we need methods fit for that purpose.